What up, everybody? It's your boy Truth Soldier at it again, coming at you with another video by the grace of God. This video right here is going to be called 7 miles to ocean bottom, only 5% explored, 238,900 miles to moon, 5% explored. I'll repeat that long title. 7 miles to ocean bottom, only 5% explored, 238,900 miles to moon, 5% explored. Now, I find that very interesting. I don't know if you guys do, if you ever thought about it, but that's for both of them to be explored, the bottom of our ocean and the moon. For both of them to be explored 5%, or less than 5% actually, but be a 230,000 mile difference, it's crazy to me. And it should be crazy to you too, all my true soldiers out there. Because check this out. They want us to believe that, oh, yeah, the water, the deeper you go down in the ocean, the pressure at those depths, for a human, it would be like 50 jumbo jets on your shoulders, right? But we're going to go into why all of us who believe that there is a firmament above us and that we cannot get out and there is no space as far as human space travel, then you'll know what I'm talking about here in a minute. But we're going to go over the first humans to explore what they call the Mariana Trenches, what they known to man is the furthest down we have, been able to swim at the bottom of the ocean. And that was in 1960. That's crazy, right? I mean, you would think that 1960 would have been kind of like late for us to like be able to go down to as far as we can go to the bottom of the ocean. But it wasn't. 1960, Don Walsh and Jacques Bacard, two guys went together in their bathyscaphe and went to the bottom of the ocean in 1960, okay? In 2012, James Cameron was the first man to go alone, do this himself, but the third man ever to this day, okay? Now, from 1960 to today has been 60 years, and only less than 5% of the ocean has been explored, okay? Earth is covered by 71% ocean, and you're telling me only less than 5% of that 71% has been explored. Only 7 miles down. But 238,900 miles away, we've explored something that is 75% smaller than said to be our Earth. We've explored 5% of that as well. Now, before I get into the pressure differences and all that crap, I'm going to give you an analogy, because I don't agree. I don't believe the pressure differences. You only believe that if you believe in space. Okay? Now, check this out. Here's an analogy. You buy a 5-bedroom house, okay? And before the furniture gets there, before any of the other family members get there, you open that door up and you step into the first thing you see is the living room. You take no more steps. You're just able to look at the living room and see what's in there. That's about, let's say that's 5% of the house, right? Instead of going in there and trying to figure out more, you turn right around and cross the street and go to a neighbor's house that you don't know. Open their door because it's unlocked or you're breaking in. Open that door, step in, and be able to see the living room. Same amount of bedrooms, same size house. Let's say it's 5%. And you look in that living room and all you're able to see is about 5% of that house, right? So you turn around and you go back across the street to your house, open up that door, and stand right there again and look in that living room and only still look at 5%. And instead of exploring more of your house and going into the rooms and finally seeing the rooms and seeing the bathrooms and stuff, You don't do that. You just stay where you're at, and instead you turn around and you make plans in the future to go back across the street to the neighbor's house that you don't know to try to explore more of that house. You following me? Why are we doing this? Why would anybody do that, right? So from 1969 to 1972, we had a few moon landings where 12 men supposedly landed on the moon. Okay? That was 51 years ago. From 1969 to today, that was 51 years ago, and less than 5% of the moon has been explored, with 12 men on it. 12 men supposedly landed on that moon, right? Even though the moon's circumference is only 6,786 miles compared to Earth's circumference, 24,900 miles, and the diameter of moon is 2,159, and the diameter of Earth is 7,917 miles. Okay? But I guess this begs the question, and we'll get to the pressure difference and all the other crap that they want us to believe. But it begs the question of, why does space seem to be a bigger target for exploration than the ocean? Okay? Now, like we said, they want us to believe that the ocean deep, you can only go so far down because of the pressure, and it'll be like 50 jumbo jets sitting on top of your shoulders. Now, we all know that the higher you go up from the ground level, the pressure goes down. There's less pressure on top of a mountain than it is on the bottom of that mountain, right? But that's as far as we know, guys. And I'm going to tell you why. NASA, they know that there is water above our atmosphere. They know that there's a part that they can't get out of. Okay? And we've been seeing all kind of evidences of this. I don't know if you guys remember, but a year or two ago, you could see in the night sky, you can see these rockets at night, but you can see like the little white outline it was leaving, kind of making it look like a condom. But if you've been doing your research, you can see that it's looking like it is scraping the firmament, and the firmament is of some kind of water substance. So just like a human can only, just in our bodies, a regular diving human can only go about 35, 40 feet before they start feeling some effects of that pressure. Imagine, I don't think it's unfathomable to think that these new rockets or these new planes that they're building to try to get out, right? They're able to go as high as they can go, to where they are able to dip inside of the surface of the firmament, but are only able to go so far in it, 35, 40 feet. And that's what we seen, just like a boat treading water. That's what we seen up in the night sky. It looked like it was something scraping up against some water, or going in and treading on some water, or maybe even inside of some water where you can see it inside the water. And then it goes in and it comes right back out of that water because it can only go so far into it. Okay? Other evidences of this are, when it comes to NASA and the astronauts and the vacuum of space, there's an absence of vacuum chamber tests. Ever since like the 60s, there was a guy, they tried to do a NASA test on a guy, I forgot his name. I'll put that in the comment section or in the description, but you guys can look it up. In the 1960s, NASA tried to do a vacuum test, and the guy almost died. He even said his own exact words were he started to feel bubbling on his tongue. The saliva on his tongue started bubbling up, which water in your bodies will do, or a cup of water would do in a vacuum. The water will start boiling. Everybody knows this. You can look this up. So a human body, an adult human body, has about 70% water in them, just like 71% on this plane we live on, right? So an astronaut in a vacuum test, the water will start boiling. So that's why they don't do tests anymore, even though that astronaut had on a spacesuit. The spacesuits do not protect them from the boiling in their bodies when they are in a vacuum. So that's why they don't do it anymore. And instead of telling the public why they don't do vacuum chamber tests, they don't tell them, and then instead they start doing these tests in swimming pools. They have the whole construction look-alike of the ISS in a pool, and they train under there. Okay, so space has no pressure, but they train in swimming pools with pressure. What sense does that make? Okay, who else does that? You know, anybody wanting to go down to the bottom of the ocean, they don't go and train in the sky. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So the testing in pools, not only are they testing in pools, but if you got a test, that's fine, do your thing. But why do they have these cameras down there with the full spacesuits on, and all they got to do is turn that into a green screen and are able to produce these fake CGI images of astronauts being working on the ISS in space, but it's really them in that pool. And let's not act like with all these movies and the CGI technology that we have, that's not how they make these movies anyway, right? So the vacuum of space is something that they don't even test in. They have no proof of being in, and so that's why I'm going to go ahead and say, screw the difference of pressure between the bottom of the ocean and space, because space will kill you faster than you going down to the bottom of the ocean. Okay, they make it seem like it's just so easy. No, if you have air in your air in your lungs, it's almost like the opposite of being in the ocean from space. You're right. If you have air in your lungs, it'll be the opposite in space. Your body will expand. The air in your lungs will expand. Even faster than you would die down in the ocean. So these fake spacesuits that they got us all believing that will protect them in a vacuum of space, it's a lie. They can't even prove that. So why would we believe that these guys are getting on rockets that are going way too fast for the G-forces for them to even probably survive? They want to downplay that part as well, and act like just because the ISS is in constant acceleration, that they're not feeling any crazy G-forces that would kill them. Well, eventually the ISS is going to have to stop, right? Eventually, how are they docking? How are they loading these astronauts onto the ISS and taking them off? Let's say an astronaut is trying to leave the ISS onto another ship. Eventually that ship has to decelerate, to slow down, to get back into the Earth's atmosphere, right? And that deceleration, they should start feeling those G-forces. We never hear nothing like that. There's no test of what a human body with no protection on it would do in the vacuum of space, but they can't even do the test with the fake protectedness of their spacesuits. Okay, so when people lie, though, they go past the lie. You know, we're so far past the lie of men landing on the moon that they want people to believe that we can go to Mars. We got something on Mars right now, a rover on Mars that's going around picking up samples, taking pictures. But that's fake too. Where are all the pictures at? Where are all the time-lapse videos of that at, right? So this is big-time evidence right here. Another one that we as humans can only go so far down, and we can only go so far up, guys. But they want to admit that we can only go so far down here on our own land, but want to make it seem like we were able to basically go inside of the firmament where the sun and the moon are and land on it. That's blasphemous, if you ask me. That's blasphemy, because they're lying. And it's pretty evidence, because we ain't landed on the moon in 51 years, or let's say 49 years, right? 49 years. And I find it very funny that in 1960 was the first time two men have went down to the bottom of the ocean, and that was the record at that time, right? And in 1969, it was the first time we were able to land men on the moon. So in the same decade, within 9 years, is when we potentially figured out, we admitted that's how far down we can go. Okay, but we lied about how high we can go up. But in that decade, or probably before that decade, is when they realized how far we can go up. Okay, I think in probably, because remember they did the nuclear test, sending them up, trying to break the firmament. Well, that was in like the mid 50s or late 50s, and then here you go with them trying to get NASA together and put this organization together to lead us away from the truth. Okay, but guys, this is another thing here that is proving to us, those that have discernment, that it makes no sense to go across the street to somebody else's house and explore theirs more than you even know about your own. And that's what we're doing. And you know why they're doing that? Because they don't want people to see the glory of God's creation. They don't want people to know about the power and the glory of his handiwork. Okay? Now, all my true soldiers out there, please share this video to any of your friends who think space is something that man has the ability to fly to. And especially when NASA, even today, is saying that they cannot get man out of low Earth orbit, where the ISS is. That's the farthest we can go now today. How does that make sense when we were able to go further than that in 1969, between 19 and 1972, with 12 men? They were lucky, huh? Well, were they smarter than us? They were smarter than us back in the days, huh? They had no cell phones back in those days. I mean, it's almost like we're supposed to believe that NASA was smarter back then than they are now. But the average Americans, why would we want to go back? Why did we want to go to the moon in the first place? To explore less than 5%? And you're good with that? And you want to act like you know everything about it, but you've only explored less than 5%? How do you know the circumference of the earth and the diameter of the earth, but you've only explored less than 5% of the ocean? That don't make no sense. How can you do that? How can I step into this house and only look at the and never seen the floor plan, never walked in there before, but only be able to look at the living room and then be able to turn around and tell you I know everything about the diameter, the square footage, how much the house weighs, everything that's in it? I wouldn't be able to do that. But that's what our top-notch scientists are doing. Okay? It's ridiculous, man. It's blasphemy. They do not know what they're telling you they know. Okay? All they know is that they know the truth. Because if you Google certain things, like for instance, if you Google what came first, night or day, Google is going to go off of what the Bible says in Genesis about how God said that there was night before day. So if we're going to go off of Google going off of Genesis in the Bible, where's the cutoff on that at? Everything should be going off of the Bible, not just things that they can't answer and that makes the most sense. Can't pick and choose to go with the Bible and the word of God and the truth. Okay? But I didn't mean to make this one a long one, guys. Let me know if I missed something in the comment section. All my true soldiers out there, I love you guys. I hope you're being blessed. I know you are. Keep fighting this spiritual battle. We are going to win. It already has been won. We just got to do what we're supposed to do. All right, guys? But hey, I love you guys. True soldier out.